Hello everyone. Hundreds of anti-government protesters in Thailand have defied government appeals for dialogue. They held a 3-hour rally inside the compound of the headquarters of the National Army, then left of their own accord. Protests against the Prime Minister, Yingluck Shinawatra, are now in their 6th day. She told the BBC she won't resign or hold early elections. More from her in a moment. But first, the BBC's Jonah Fisher inside the Army headquarters compound.
This is the Royal Thai Army headquarters. It's been quite an extraordinary 2 hours here. Initially, this door was broken down, the gate was broken down by the anti-government demonstrators. They came in here and they occupied this entire square here, probably a couple of thousand of them. On this grass here, they brought a truck in, they held a rally. There appeared to be an understanding with the army officers. You can see perhaps some of them over there, that they wouldn't go any further, they wouldn't attempt to get in the building. So for a couple of hours they had a rally, they appealed to the army officers to join their side in this protest, and then just in the last few minutes they've packed up, they've taken their stage and their trucks out with them, and they've moved outside the compound again. You can see the army here. They were never armed, there was never a confrontation. That appears to be part of the strategy of Yingluck Shinawatra's government here. She appears determined to avoid there being any sort of flashpoint which could potentially create an environment in which a coup, an army intervention could take place. So at the moment, order has returned, if you like, to the army headquarters. The demonstrators have moved off. But what we've seen throughout this week is that they will then perhaps be looking for another target, another government building, which they can then also look to break into.
Well, the protesters going into that army headquarters, then leaving, was the 6th day of protests against the government of the Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra, who continues to urge dialogue. So who are these protesters? What do they want? Well, they are led by Suthep Thavisin. He's a former opposition Democrat Party lawmaker. Police have issued a warrant for his arrest. Mr. Thavisin quit the opposition party earlier this month to lead the protests aimed at toppling the government. That's after it proposed a controversial political amnesty bill. That bill would have meant the return of the former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. He's in exile out of the country. He faces corruption charges inside Thailand. He's also the brother of the current Prime Minister. Well, on Sunday, the protests started around the Democracy Monument. That's there in the heart of Bangkok. They spread to several government ministries like Finance, Agriculture, Tourism, Transportation and the Interior Ministry. On Thursday, after winning a no-confidence vote, the Prime Minister in Parliament appealed for dialogue. The protesters responded by doing this, cutting the power supply. You can see them snipping there the cables to the National Police headquarters. Then, in the last few hours, they forced their way into army headquarters. And as we've just reported with Jonah Fisher, they have since left. Well, what is the view of the Prime Minister? She's been speaking to the BBC's Jonathan Head.
This situation is very sensitive. It doesn't mean that government just like back off, but I think we have our position and standpoint, and let the policemen follow the step by step. For the first step, the negotiation. But if the negotiation is not success, so we move step by step. So let the people work. And let me be patient with the situation. I love these countries. I devote myself for the countries. And I need only one thing for the countries, that we need to protect the democracy. We need to protect all the things with the right way of the countries. This is the way that we should do. So whatever will keep the democracy, whatever will keep the peaceful way, whatever will keep the follow by the rule of law, that will be the right answer.
Why don't you call a new election now?
I think it means the situation. If you call it with the election, we have to ask that the protester will satisfy or not.
Well, that's the Prime Minister. Let's go live to Bangkok now to the Thai government spokesman, Thirat Ratansevi. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. What is your reading now of what the protesters are doing? Surely they have the upper hand. They can go into the army headquarters, have a rally, leave, and then it's peaceful again.
Yes, On the government standpoint, as long as the protest is still peaceful, I think we still think that it's acceptable. Currently, the government try not to have any confrontation because what we really think that if there are any people that injured or hurt, that might make the situation worse. So right now, the government and all the national forces try to be in place and try not to avoid and try to avoid the confrontation. And let the police run because currently we announced the Security Internal Act that give the full process to the police.
Yesterday in Parliament, the Prime Minister and her government won a vote of confidence in the government, and they also said very clearly, we want dialogue. What's your view, therefore, of the fact that clearly the protesters are able to make their voice heard, but they don't want dialogue with you?
Yeah, this is what we're really concerned because we already offer all ways that we would like to have the dialogue. We would like to have ways to talk to the protester. Actually, I was with Prime Minister myself a few minutes ago. She said that she was willing to give the protester leader a call, that she can find a way to get the best situation out of the crisis. But we still don't know the thing that the protester called, like the People Council, how it's going to happen. Because currently we still have the Constitution. By having the People Constitution, they have to amend the law. So in that case, it means that we have to pass through all the Constitution amendment first before we can have the People Council as the protester would like to have.
Tirat Ranansave, thank you very much indeed. The Thai government spokesman there with confirmation that the Prime Minister herself wants to talk directly by phone to the protesters.